Hello, my name is Valene Hatathlie. Bin Patoni Nishlin, Twitter cheat ni bushes chin, Ashihe Dashache, though Teddy's Gizni Dashanella. Today, I'm going to be showing you guys how to make fry bread using Val's fry bread. So first, we're going to have the Val's fry bread mix as you see here. We're going to have 2 cups of water, warm water, and a bowl to get started. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and start with the Val's fry bread mix. This does have 4 cups of mixture in it. So if you decide to make 2 cups of mixture, you're only going to use 1 cup of water. So in this episode, we're going to use 4 cups. So we're going to use 2 cups of warm water. Now you start with making a little hole in the middle. Now don't dump the whole 2 cups of warm water in there. Leave just a little bit behind. Now, if you want to make tortilla bread with the mix, all you're going to do is add 2 tablespoons of oil. You're going to mix that in with the fry bread mixture. Mix it in with it really good, the dry mix. And when you feel that it's mixed in completely, then you can start putting water in it. Mix it together. And you're just gently pushing around the water in the mixture. And it's going to start to form a glob. You want to keep that glob together. And then just push it around the flour. Just push it around. Let it start to form into a ball. Pretty soon you're going to have to knead the ball into the flour. And what that does is the sticky part of the dough will pick up the flour. So the more you pick up flour, the more your dough will form. Sometimes you just got to push it around until you get the desired texture. You don't want your ball of dough too hard either. You want it to stay nice, soft and warm. So now we're going to add a little more water because it's not picking up as much flour. So add a little more water to it. Start pushing around the dough. And you can see that it's picking up more of the dry mixture. Now you're just going to force that dough around until you pick up the dry mixture. All right, it's getting kind of hard. So you're going to add a little more water. And the same thing, you're just going to push it around until the dry mix is all gone and all you have is the dough. So that is how you make the dough part of it. Now from here, we're going to let the dough rest for 30 minutes. Okay, you can go ahead and take the pieces of dough off your hand and just push it in the dough, kind of form it into a nice ball. And then just let it rest. Let it sit there like that for 30 minutes. Cover it with something. Get another smaller bowl and just put it on top of there. Let it rest for 30 minutes. Okay, so the dough has been sitting for 30 minutes. Now we're going to uncover it. See, here's the dough. It's really soft and it's warm. Now you're just going to use these 4 fingers. You're going to just grab it, like cup it. You're going to cup it like this, and you're just going to pinch the other side of your fingers. Just like that, okay? And you just get that, and you're going to flatten this side of your hand, and this side of your hand is going to go into a cup shape, and you're going to push that ball of dough around on it. It's kind of like mimicking this, but your hand on one side is cupped. And you're going to cup the dough, and you're just going to move it around. You're not going to grab the dough ball, you're just going to use your hand to push it around. And it'll form a nice one like this. So you're just going to grab a couple more. Make your dough ball. All of them should be nicely formed like that. This does take practice, so don't be too hard on yourself. Now this, again, you're pushing it in a circle around the palm of your hand. This side is just cupping the ball. You're not gonna push down or nothing. You're just gonna push it around on the palm of your hand. You're not gonna grab it or squeeze it. You're just gonna push it around. There it is. So it does take a lot of practice, and practice does make perfect. You don't want to do this too much either, because it's kind of like kneading the dough too much. You can make the dough hard. This is the same thing. So you want maybe 10 circles around your hand and you're done. So last piece, and that's it. That's a pretty big piece. Now with the oil, you have your pan, and this is the oil that I have. You can use any kind of oil that you would like, but you can, I've heard people use avocado oil. It does have a high smoke temperature. Those are the kinds that people use in their homes, but I have to go with Crisco. I've always used Crisco. I grew up using Crisco all the time, so that's what we're going to use right here. You for yourself, you have to figure out how much oil you would like to use. You can use 8 or 10 tablespoons of oil. It's up to you. So let's get started. So we have these all rolled out. Now you want to cover these again for another 30 minutes. So you can use the same bowl, just put it over the plate and let it rest for 30 minutes. These are going to allow the dough to soften up, and it's going to be easier for you to flap out. So we'll get started with that next. Okay, now the dough has been setting for like 30 minutes. And take the lid off, and this is our dough. So I'm going to show you really quick how to flop these out. So you start out with just a ball of dough like this. You're just going to push it down, smash it together, okay? It's pretty flat. And you're just going to go around the edges of it. You're going to smash those down. Make it flat. You don't want them super flat. You just want them flat enough, okay? When you think you're ready, start flipping it just using your fingers, right on your fingers like this, okay? Not the palms yet. It gets a little bigger, and then you can start using the palms like this. And what that does is it flattens out the middle part, pushes everything out to the side. So that's how you flap out your bread. You don't want it too thin or too thick. You just gotta feel it. You gotta feel it, and you gotta practice a lot. Now our oil is hot, and turn it down a bit. Now be careful with this because the oil is hot. If there's kids at home, have the adults do this. You're gonna put your dough down. You're gonna watch the edges, the very bottom of your edges. Those ones are going to turn brown. That's when it turns brown, when you start seeing it turn brown way at the bottom, you see? That's when you know to flip it. So you flip it. And you can just rotate it in the pan. All right, you can't really see the side of the bottom side to see if it's brown or not. You can check it just by flipping it over. You see? It's a nice golden color. I'm gonna try another one. Same thing. Press it down, flatten it out. You can use your fingers to smash those edges. And then you're going to use your fingers again, flap it out. It's going to get big enough to where it's the size of your hand, and you're just going to use your whole hand. Okay, stretch it out a bit, make sure it's round. Now put it in the oil. Get rid of this air pocket, so that way it cooks that side of the bread. And again, you're going to watch the edges. When the edges turn brown, the color you desire, then you're going to flip it to the other side. And you're just going to turn the dough, turn the bread. You don't have to, you can just leave it and let it set. That's fine. You think you're ready, check it. Let the oil drain off the bread and just put it off to the side. Okay, here's the third piece of bread I'm making. Now this is something that me and my siblings used to do when we were kids, when we were making fry bread at home by ourselves. I would flap it out and put it on a plate or the table, and we would cut it into strips. So this is something we would do when it was just like us kids at home. Get a little strip of fry bread, put it in the oil. You can do this with cookie cutters. If you grandparents want to make fry bread with your grandkids and let them make little, maybe some Christmas ornaments or reindeer or Santa Claus, this is a good idea, a good activity to have with the little kids. So just as they start to turn brown on one side, you can flip them. Next one, you can flip it just as they cook. It's a nice activity to do with the little kids. We used to do this when I was making soup. That way they were kind of like breadsticks, and we would sit there and we would all eat our soup and pretend we were eating breadsticks with them, like at Olive Garden. When you become an expert, you can use this part of your hand to smash the edges of the bread. Get it to the right consistency. Make a fist on one side and a hand on an open hand on the other, and you can just flap it out like that. Put that on a plate. Let's flip these over because they are done on one side. All right. Now, this is what we loved to do as children. And you know, chili beans were my brother's favorite when he was young. So we would make chili beans, you know, we started working on our recipe back then. And then this was always good with stew. Sometimes my mom had like leftover mutton stew at home in the kitchen, and we were just like, oh, we can make fry bread and have stew. So this was something we did when we were kids. And I remember my mom used to come home and the house was always smoky and it smelled like fry bread, and she was just like, oh, the kids made fry bread again. And my mom used to laugh and joke, and she used to tell people, dinner is ready when the smoke clears. She probably still says that too, I don't know. But this is just a fun thing to do at home. You can do it with the kids, the grandkids. You can play with fry bread just like that. Let's put a couple more in. Ooh, these are plumping up really fast. But in my pan is pretty small, and I probably use like 6 tablespoons of oil. I didn't fill up my pan with oil. You don't have to do that. When I'm cooking at the fry bread stand, yeah, my pans are filled with oil. But that's because we're making fry bread fast, at a fast pace, and they're really big. So this is a fun way to make fry bread, guys. And I hope you enjoy it. You know, Val's Fry Bread was created out of something with love. Me and my siblings did it all the time. We enjoy it. I started selling at Native Arts Market. It's really good. You know, if you guys are in the area, come by. Say hello. I'll be there. Thank you.